All right, guys, we are back. We're pretty well dry, at least dry enough to be able to kind of add some Copic highlights and lowlights. I started on that a little bit already on kind of the hand and stuff. Then I realized I wasn't recording. Sorry about that. But one of the things that I am trying to do here primarily, though, is use some neutral grays to kind of pick up some of my lower spots. So I use the Copic sketch markers. These are great. They come in a chisel and a brush tip. I have the set. It comes with a set of these and then one of the Copic SP refillable multi-liners. Adore them. Great stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let's see, I have a couple of darker ones. And just like going in and doing my washes, I'm going to start dark to gray, and I'm probably not even going to go all the way to my heaviest dark one. If I do, it's going to be in very specific spots because I really kind of want the gray to represent what I'm doing for the most part. So we're going to start in and just kind of go in and add a little value to the spots where there should be darker areas. And we're going to build that up using the darker markers, which rhymed, and I did not realize that it did. So I'm a poet, and I didn't know it, and all of that thing. The things that we used to say as kids. You'll also notice that I've got some spots here that are darker than I want them to be, and that's okay. I'm going to go through back with some white markers and Posca markers and that kind of thing. This also kind of lets me smooth some of my shading. I have a blender, but I don't really like to use it. See, I got a spot there that was a little wetter than I wanted it to be, so I got a light smear. It's nothing bad. It actually kind of just blended into what we were doing a little bit better. So, all right, so that was the neutral 0. We're going to move up to the N2. The neutral 0 on a blank piece of paper, it's kind of even hard to see a little bit, but we're going to go up to the neutral 2. And again, we're just slightly building up our dark areas so that when we add our highlights, they feel a little more substantial. Something to contrast against. And this isn't an accent. This is just an accent. I'm not really intending to do this as like the full shading. I want the wash that we did to really kind of stand out. This is really just to pull out some details in places where we've been working. Okay. And then from there it moves up to the neutral 4. Again, just in the dark spots. And you'll notice this one leaves a harder edge, so this is really more where we want to do some of that finer detail work. And just kind of use just that edge. Now, once these dry, they get a little bit lighter, so what feels like a hard edge sometimes doesn't always come off as a hard edge as much as you thought it would. But don't play with that. I'll guarantee you'll end up putting down a line that you go, oh, that stands out. So just be gentle. I think with anything that requires shading and rendering, start off with a little, add more. if we do this right, we shouldn't really need too much of our darkest marker. Now, some people will ask, how do you know? And if you're doing your own pencils, yeah, you need to know the more of the shading. But if you're working on somebody else's pencils and just kind of starting off with this, my recommendation is just follow the lines. You'll notice that these feathering things, when they feather off into nothing, they're implying a line that goes further that your imagination is meant to complete. That's where the shading comes in. Use your coloring and your shading to allow that to come out. Let's step back one here and blend this a little bit more. All right, and then see if we can use any of this. This is really just your darkest spots. Nothing. Now I have a shade darker that I can go than this, and I might in some of these low-level areas, but for the most part, I am gonna leave it be and let the gray kind of handle what it handles. Yeah, like I think I'm gonna do that darkest gray right in here. All right, now, here's where we start doing the fun stuff. This is where the details really start coming out. This is also where you get a chance to do a little cleanup of the stuff that you didn't really like before. So we're gonna go through and take our little Posca pen. And go through and add some highlights for the and maybe go through and clean up a little bit. Also, it looks like I didn't mean to do this spot here that was part of his Venom costume uniform, where the little spidery thing goes. And remember, Venom's a wet look, so it's okay to go with a fair amount of highlights. There's going to be glistening and things that you don't really expect. What I'm doing here is I'm kind of building up that paint and sort of blotting it a little bit so it doesn't have such a hard line, but just using the tip of my finger. Probably gonna go through and fix this top holding line too. It feels a little janky at the very edge there where that highlight is. think I'm not going to worry about this inside part too much. I think I'm going to do, because the light's coming down from here, I think I'm going to do a faded up wash, or maybe even sponge technique or something going up from there, but we're going to see. All right. Sorry, I just wanted to pick up some of those lines again. It felt like the Copic had made them a little dull. Okay, so, all right, we're gonna let that dry. We're gonna come back to it later, and we're gonna lay down Frisket over the top of this and do a little kind of wash heading up. Maybe even from here up, I think in that direction, because that's the light's coming from there, light's coming from there. Darkest areas seem to be under and under. So yeah. All right, see you guys later.